Hi everyone and welcome back to National League Lowdown with me, Dan. As you can see, we've got a full house of us again with you. Craig, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. For those that obviously can't tell, we're recording early in the morning, so I've only just woke up. So let's hope my takes are a little bit better early in the morning.
You'll be able to find out in the next 40, 50 minutes or so which of us are morning people and which of us aren't. Mark, are you okay, mate?
Yes, hello, everybody. Yeah, easy like Sunday morning. You've got to be kidding me. Good win for Matt yesterday, 3-0 against a pretty awful Oxford side. 3 points off the playoffs. Just a topsy-turvy league. We're up to 9th, but we do have the pleasure of Woking on Tuesday night. We'll try again there. So, yeah. People will remember that I have actually predicted Woking to win the FA Trophy. Sort of changed now. But, yeah, all good yesterday. And looking forward to my 6 in 6. That'll be good.
It'll be good. It'll be good. And Mark should be used to these early mornings, given his jet setting and high flying days with Talk Sport and BBC Sport and all these other things he's been doing as of late. So
yeah,
he should be used to this.
I'm nearly 50. Come on.
And Louis, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, all good, thanks, Dan. I feel like we say at the beginning of every podcast that Mac are playing Woking at the moment. It seems to never get played. But yeah, looking forward to this. An eventful set of fixtures yesterday. Lots of talking points, I think. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely, and you're right. It's either Woking, Macclesfield, or Rochdale Southend. Which game's going to get on first? We'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll get straight into it. So, first game we're going to talk about is York going top of the table with a late equaliser, 1-1 with Southend. I watched this game. I thought Southend were outstanding. They should have been out of sight. If it wasn't for Harrison Mail in goal, Southend could have comfortably been 2 or 3-0 up, and York couldn't have had any complaints. But as all good teams do, they dug in, got that late equaliser, and found themselves, pushing for the winner at the end. To be fair, and if they'd won it, it would have been daylight robbery. I think they took the point; they were happy with it, and obviously they've got a big game Wednesday against Carlisle up here as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they build from there. Craig, how did you see this one, mate?
Yeah, so I managed to catch most of this one as well. And as you said, Southend were the better side. There's no doubt about that. I don't think any York fan will disagree with us for too much on that one. But they showed that quality to get a point out of it. They didn't really have too many clear-cut chances. Not many fell to Ollie Pearce, but when it did, it was deflected in, and it managed to obviously get them level. For Southend, I think it shows why they are where they are, though, and slightly away from the pack, because I think any of the top 6, the way they played, would have won that game yesterday. And they just managed to come up short. And I think they are still lacking that really clinical number 9. That I think if they had that yesterday, they win that 2-0, 3-0, probably, because the performance deserved that. And they did pick up quite a few injuries, though, so they'll be cause for concern because their fixture log is getting very, very busy. We joke about the Rochdale game. They've still got to play them twice, both rearranged. They're still in the trophy. So they'll be slightly worried that their injuries are building and their fixtures are building at the same time. So they'll be hoping for some more reinforcements in the next couple of weeks to help them close that gap, because some of the teams in 7th, 8th and 9th now are picking up results as well. And it's not as clear that Southend will get the playoffs as it was maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned it there about the injuries. Cardwell, the goal scorer, went off pretty much straight after he scored, and they brought him in to address them goal scoring problems. Now he's out injured. You've got to think they've got to be in the market for a striker in the next few days or weeks coming. So we'll wait and see what Southend do. But I agree with Craig. I think if they had that striker, they win that game comfortably. So, like I say, if they can get one, they could easily push on. But I did look at the table, and Halifax aren't far behind now. And obviously, I think everyone's played more games than Southend. But, we've talked about games in hand in the past and said rather have the points on the board than the games in hand. So they'll be looking over the shoulder, no doubt about that. Mark, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, not too much to put on that. I mean, Southend, yeah, absolutely 100% the better side. Again, more goals will win you games. I mean, that's obvious as the day is long, really. But the thing is with York, they will find a way. They will find a way to get either a point or 3 points, and they managed to do. I mean, when you've got players like Ollie Pearce and Josh Stones, you've always got a chance of getting something. And if Southend can find somebody, I mean, I know they brought in Harry Cardwell, but he's injured now. If they find somebody, not exactly on the level of Pearce and Stones, but somebody who can bang in the goals a bit more regularly, then the playoff hopes will still be there, because there are a lot of teams on the tails now and they have to take that on board. Otherwise, it'll all be for nothing. But York, yeah, I think they could. Daylight robbery if they had won, yeah, but it would have been petty theft.
Yeah, true. Louis, how did you see this one, mate?
Yeah, I think you've summed it up quite well. Sign of champions, maybe, that they get points in games that they probably don't deserve them. Harrison Mail kept them in the game last week against us with a double save, and he basically did the same thing again just before Southend got their opener. And I think if they're clinical, Southend, if Mail doesn't make those saves, I think Southend walk away with the 3 points here. But Mail made the difference, I think, and we have gone on about their strikers and their attacking quality. The defence is showing it, the goalkeeper's showing it now, making some important saves to keep them in the game. I think Jeff King deserves a shout out as well. I think he changed the dynamic of the game when he came on. Obviously, he's gone back to York from Boreham Wood and is now seemingly having another impact on the title race for another club. But it was his ball in, I think, for Pearce, who got the goal. So yeah, he changed the game and gave them a bit of extra dynamic on that right wing from the right back position or right wing back position. For Southend, you look at their fixtures coming up, they've got 4 away games and 1 home game in the next 5, and then the home game is on Tuesday night. But after that, I think they've got Chatham, Scunthorpe, Aldershot, and Boston away. So albeit not long trips, some of them, but to have 4 away games on the trot basically is a huge thing for them. So I do worry for them, because as much as a point away from home at York is a very good point on paper, they need to start winning games to make sure that gap to Halifax gets bigger than 1, which it currently is at the moment.
Yeah, definitely looking over the shoulders at the moment. And we say obviously about them games as well with Boston and teams like that and Aldershot, but they're all fighting for their lives down the bottom as well, so they'll be tough places to go to for them. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on there. Next up, we've got Braintree 0, Boreham Wood 3. Craig, I'll come to you, mate. What did you make of this one?
No, thank you. Honestly, I don't think Boreham Wood got out of second gear, and they're still probably the best side I've seen at the stadium this season. They were so comfortable. Their transitions, their patterns of play, the way they pulled Braintree out of shape. We had to change our shape halfway through the game, although the damage had already been done. They were unbelievable without really having to get out of second gear. The thing that frustrated me the most as a Braintree fan is our best player from the season doesn't even get into their starting lineup. So that shows kind of the gap between the two teams right now. Marley Miranda came on, got a good reception, although most of the Braintree fans had gone home by the end. So he didn't get clapped off too much or anything like that. But no, just two teams in completely contrasting form. And it went with the form book completely. Boreham Wood were a class above. You could see the connections between the players. You could see how good they were, whereas it felt like a Braintree player would get lost walking down the corner shop at the moment. That kind of how it felt in that one. They were rather disappointing. But on the flip side, if we're going to drop a poor performance, which it was, but let's give a lot of credit to Boreham Wood, if you're going to drop a poor performance, do it against a title challenger, not against a team that's around you. And there's going to be bigger games for us throughout the season that are going to decide whether we stay up or down, rather than a team probably playing against. For me, I obviously haven't watched every team close up now. I've watched most of them. For me, the best team I've seen this season. So disappointed, but I'm not going to lose too much sleep over this one. Although you guys got me up early anyway, so I did lose some sleep.
Oh.
But yeah, no, like for me, I've said I think Boreham Wood's the best team I've seen up here as well. So it's quite consistent that most of us who've seen them in person have said that they're the best team we've seen. Louis, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, they just cut Braintree apart with ease, didn't they? That second goal, the back heel from front is just beautiful, and the way they've worked it is just outstanding. They've got so much pace on the transition as well if they need to counter attack, or if they're going to set up to counter attack as well. So I think they can play all sorts of games, and they can play all sorts of opponents. They're a real threat to the title, I think. Obviously, I predict them to win the playoffs, but that was the idea that they may have a few fixture congestions from the FA Cup. That's out of the way, and I think we've said how much of an issue that could be for everyone else in the title race. I think Regan Booty deserves a shout out here as well. I think he was a linchpin in midfield, sort of picked apart the midfield for Braintree and played the balls through to the likes of Brunt and Abdul Malak. So yeah, outstanding performance of him. Obviously, they've got him on a permanent deal till, well, not till the end of the season now, it's beyond that, isn't it? I think the contract's longer than the end of the season. So yeah, a really good bit of business. Yeah, really good bit of business from Boreham Wood has created an afternoon to forget for Braintree. It's one win in eight games in all competitions now, and only 3 goals scored in that time. So it's looking a bit bleak at the moment. Sorry, Craig, to put it out on the on the airways.
So mate, it gets easier next week.
Yeah, York
away.
And you've only got two. You've only got two sides at home from the bottom half in the remainder of the season. So a lot of the sides around you away from home. But yeah, home form might be crucial, but it'll be the big boys that are coming to you, or the top half sides that are coming to you, sadly.
Yeah, just going back to that second goal, sorry. I stood behind the goal for this one. Obviously, I'm up in the gantry quite often. I wasn't on commentary, so I stood behind the goal. And as a collective, you're obviously always really frustrated when you can see the goal. But a lot of us just looked at each other and went, yeah, that was pretty decent, to be fair. That was a good goal. So if you get a little bit of opposition admiration as well, you can see how good they are at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And like Louis mentioned there, the lack of goals for Braintree is a real worry. I mean, you just look, and I know when I watched you, we talked about it against Boston last week, and you're screaming at the TV saying, like, how have you missed that? Obviously, it's different against Boreham Wood because they've dominated, and, you know, you probably haven't created as many chances as you did against Boston, but that Boston game's going to come back to haunt you, I feel. I remember saying that last week. Them games, they're the games that you'll look back at if things do take a downturn and you maybe struggle back end of the season. You'll be looking at the Boston games, not the Boreham Wood games, as to where you went wrong, I think.
Boston, Sutton and Altrincham at home. Realistically, teams that are down there with us, and we've drawn 0-0 with them all at home.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you're not going to be too disheartened by being beaten by a very good Boreham Wood side. It's those other games that are going to cost you. Mark, what did you make of this one, mate?
Well, I've had the Michael taken out of me due to my flip flop. I believe it was. I believe it was called, but it's said for a genuine reason. And Braintree just aren't scoring the goals that are going to get them closer to the teams above them, and it is a genuine concern. I mean, I don't think if I went there as a Braintree fan, I mean, yeah, they're playing one of the top sides in the league. I mean, Boreham Wood are very, very good, but again, and it's been put on. You know, when you do play the Bostons, the Altrinchams, the Suttons, if you don't score against them, you got to sit back and think, we are in real trouble here. But Boreham Wood, I mean, they've made the savviest signings of this season. I mean, Zach Brunt on a permanent deal has to be one of the signings of the season. Has to be. You had Charles Clayton and Matt Rush, who I see that some of the pundits on Twitter have been linking him with an EFL move. Yeah, that's interesting and fairly inaccurate, but there we are. But yeah, Boreham Wood are up there for a reason. They've got the players. We've banged on week after week about how good Luke Garrett is as a manager, and it's proving that. But Braintree, will they find a goal scorer at the moment? And the answer to that is no, unless they look really, really hard. But goal scorers cost money, and Craig, I'm not sure how the budget is. Is it next to zero or beyond it?
I honestly don't think there's anything in the coffers for us, mate. Unfortunately, on that one.
And as I say, I mean, this flip flop approach is, as it were, is now is now coming true.
Just
Yeah.
while we're on Luke Garrett, sorry, Boreham Wood scored their second goal and Mason Terry went down injured, that old classic. He was then relentless on his players. Like, he has got such high standards. If you'd have walked into the ground then and seen which manager, and this is nothing against Steve or anything like that, but if you'd have guessed which manager was 2-0 down, you'd have probably given Garrett, because he was on his players. He was so hot. Even though they were 2-0 up, he wanted more. His standards were so high. And you can
It
see
shows
that
he cares.
in everything they do was planned. It was probably focused on in training. There was such a drive there to be better from them, and that's why they've been a surprise package for the first half of the season. But no one's surprised anymore with the results they're getting.
Yeah, you literally took what I was going to say. I was going to say no one's surprised anymore when they're absolutely breezing past people, and like you say, not getting out of second gear. You know, it's not a surprise anymore. So massive credit to them. Next up, we've got Solihull 3, Carlisle 3.
Mm.
Honestly, if I had any hair, lads, I'd be tearing my hair out. Honestly, honest to God, I've never seen a team concede the same kinds of goals pretty much every time. Like it frustrates me because I think I put it on social media after the game. I said, I was like, in that game, I think we created more chances than we created in the 3 games we won overall in the festive period with Gateshead, Morecambe and Wealdstone. We created so many chances. Kelly, I think Mark said in the group chat earlier, he'll never have an easier hat-trick to score. And I think it's a fair point, but you've got to be there to, finish those chances. And that's something we have lacked this season. Con Clark made a massive difference on the ball. We looked after the ball a lot better. Midfield was worrying. McAdam and Gilead, but more McAdam was getting ran past. And then the goals we were conceding were just... One ball was just a ball right through the middle of everybody, like a knife through butter. And again, I've seen it conceded numerous times. Balls over the top were causing problems. Again, I've seen that for the last 2 years since we're in League One. That was happening. Same thing. And then you'll have all seen the equaliser. Gabe Breeze had no business coming for that. It was going right on Aaron Hayden's head. Aaron Hayden was going to head it clear. Breeze has come so far out, and if you do come that far, you've got to take everybody. You've got to take the defender, the attacker, the ball. If you fall and break your arm or whatever, so be it. You've got to do it, and you've got to be committed to it. And all he's done is just nod it down to I think it was High who scored the goal and open net. And just it was. I would have took a draw at the start. I think Solihull have been in great form, but I feel like because it was a last minute equaliser and our own fault, it felt like a defeat in the end. So I just wanted to have my say on it because I think, like I said, there was positives, but ultimately, you're giving goals away like that. If you'd said to me before the game, you're going to go to Solihull and score 3 goals, you'd have thought realistically that we would be winning the game. And the fact that we haven't is worrying, really. Louis, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, just to follow up on what you said in terms of like the chances you had, there was 30 attempts in the game between both sides. Solihull's XG was 0.8 and yours was 2.4. So you had the better chances in the game going by expected goals. And yeah, it's 2 points drops in that sense. As you said, Breeze, just leave your defenders to deal with it, trust your defence in front of you, and he hasn't done that. You remind me of what Forest Green were like last year. Obviously, Forest Green came down after a double relegation. They had an inflated wage bill. I think they had a lot of players on there that had been around for a long period of time. They started the season really well, and I think they were up in 3rd at this time last year, and then they just nosedived, and there was a lot of toxicity at the club. And I think it's one or two ways for you now. You either continue your poor performances. There's a degree of toxicity around with Hughes at the moment. I think there was before the game he came out and sort of was it a couple of days before he said some about comments about that he doesn't understand negatives or something. So it's got potential to go both ways here. You either kick on and improve on your performances and pick up the points that maybe you didn't yesterday in games like that, or it goes the way that it did for Forest Green last year, I think, and you nosedive and it becomes an even more toxic place. Your playoff place, I think, is secured. I don't think there's an issue there in that sense because I don't think there's enough teams that will catch you. So I think you have a playoff place. It's just whether you can, take that next step, I think, and change the fortunes around and change the kind of vibe around the club around. And I think with the game yesterday, I think it's a good point in the sense that everyone else seemingly dropped points as well. Obviously, York dropped points, Scunthorpe dropped points, Forest Green dropped points. So on the basis of it, it's a good point. If you go and lose to York on a Wednesday night, I feel like it's not a good point in that sense. So
Yeah,
hindsight's a great thing. But
it makes the York game even bigger. I mean, it was a big game anyways, but I think if we'd won against Solihull, a draw against York wouldn't have been a disaster. But I feel like now we kind of have to go and win if we've got aspirations of a title win. And obviously, you mentioned about Mark Hughes' comments. Mark Hughes, basically, for those of you who haven't seen Mark Hughes' comments, basically where he couldn't understand why we were criticising performances. We've played better than people have gave us credit for, which I think is borderline delusion at a point. I don't think we've played well all season, personally, and a lot of people agree with me. I think the best game we had was Braintree when we won 5-0. Sorry, Craig. But again, Braintree weren't that great that day either, so it was kind of, a bit of a mix of both. Yeah, sorry, mate. But yeah, so that was the kind of what Mark Hughes was getting at. I think he thinks we've played better than what people are giving him credit for. People disagreed, so there is a lot of mixed emotions in the fan base at the moment. Mark, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, very bit tunnel vision comments from Mark Hughes. It's really, really odd when somebody comes out and tries to justify the performances when there's more around them going, come on, mate, I think you need to sit down and just relax for a minute. But it's been a hard place to go since Chris Millington took over. So again, the 3 goals, Georgie Kelly and his goal score. The art of the goal hanger was brought out yesterday, but it ain't. Yeah, the ball's got to go in somehow, and if you can get a hat trick off it, of 2 yards, whatever, then he will go into the York game full of confidence. He'll want to keep on with that, and that could work in Carlisle's favour. However, clumsy goalkeeping won't help them, and if I was Hughes, I would sort of put my opinions onto the back burner at the moment and say to Mr. Breeze, look, you do that again, and I will get another goalkeeper in. Put the pressure on him to perform better than. I mean, Scott High will not have an easy goal all season, but it should never ever have come to that at all. I mean, they've got some good defenders, Carlisle. Let them get on with it. You don't have to do this really odd impression of Superman to to set up somebody to score. But no, Solihull will always be a very, very hard place to go. But Georgie Kelly and that hat trick might give him the confidence to push on a little bit better on Wednesday night, because it's a big game and everybody will want to perform. But yeah, keep the mistakes down to a minimum.
Yeah, definitely. Craig, anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I think Solihull need to take your title from Aldershot as value for money. They've had 28 goals in their last 5 games. So they're definitely the team to watch at the moment. They're playing an exciting brand. They probably haven't still clicked defensively because they have conceded quite a few. Like you said, Georgie Kelly was poacher's finish. I think the third one, I don't think you gave enough credit. There's come over a lot of bodies for him to header it into the far corner. I think it's maybe an underrated finish, but one you're definitely going to score when you're on a hat trick. Solihull, good side. There's no doubts about that. At home, I wouldn't be surprised to see them take more scalps at home against the big boys. I'm not sure who they've exactly got left to play at home, but they've got a chance of that last playoff position. I think it probably is a bridge too far. I think I've mentioned that previously. But results like this will just continue their confidence. They've only lost to Boreham Wood in the last 7 games. Only lost to Boreham Wood, which, as we've already discussed, there's no disgrace in losing to the way Boreham Wood are playing at the moment. And speaking to Callum in that game, Solihull were probably maybe even the better side. So they're absolutely flying. They're doing really, really well. Again, though, I'd just go back to the start of the season. What could have been for them if they got their decision right earlier?
Definitely. And you just mentioned there quickly before we move on, Solihull's next 2 home games, Rochdale and York. Next 2 home
Knew they were
games.
coming up.
Yeah. And then they've got Morecambe away, sandwiched in the middle of there. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But yeah, I think they could have a big say in the title race. Not necessarily obviously going for the title, but I think they've still got everybody left to play. They've got Scunthorpe away as well, I can see on there. So they've got all the boys up there still to play. So they could potentially be one of the reasons whoever doesn't win it, doesn't win it. So we'll wait and see. Next up, we've got Morecambe 2, Scunthorpe 2. We've been heavily critical of Morecambe in recent weeks. I think maybe we need to give them a little bit of credit this week. Mark, what did you make of this one?
Yeah. After the extraordinary ramblings of the fans forum in midweek, oh my goodness, that was quite. Go and look at it on YouTube, wherever you can pick it up. It is. It's extraordinary, and every thing just starts with, "That's a good question. That's a good question." Even when it wasn't, Pies. Come on, get real, will you? But yeah, it's Morecambe needed the points. Coming up against the Scunthorpe side, who Andy Butler and Callum Roberts won our respective award, and Callum Roberts actually scored along with Joe Rowley. But Miguel Aziz scored a great little volley, and then the penalty right at the death from Admiral Muskie. Must we talk about it? Yes, we must. Sorry, it's Sunday, but
I got up early for this.
Yeah, no, you're not ready for it. But I don't know who really the point is more useful for. Morecambe's just another climb up the table, whereas Scunthorpe will probably take that point to cement the playoff aspirations further. But yeah, 2-2 in a game where people were probably saying, yeah, Scunthorpe will go there and wipe the floor with them, but they needed to show a bit of resilience. Morecambe, the manager's still under pressure, and you can see why the results, especially against Kidderminster in the FA Trophy. I mean, a 6-2 walloping was probably not the best result to go into this game with, but to get a point is fairly good. But who it benefits more, bit hard to say. But yeah, hard fought. Nothing more on that, really.
Yeah, Louis, what did you make of this one, mate?
That's a good question, that one, Dan. So yeah, Morecambe, good point for them, I think. I think given where they were, given where they were in the sense of the gameplay, I think they'll take a point from that. Lovely finish from Callum Roberts for the goal, one touch finish in the corner. I think it was a game of two halves. I think Morecambe probably were the better side in the first half, just didn't take their chances, and then Scunthorpe came back into it and probably were the better side in the second half. It's awful defending for the second goal. I mean, he completely left his man completely free. He's got a free shot from about 3 yards out, and there's no chance he misses that. But yeah, it's a mentality thing from Morecambe. 7 times this season, they've dropped points from winning positions. So they've taken 4 points instead of 21. You know, if you hold on to a couple more wins, that's them out of the bottom 4. So it's just, yeah, mentality thing for them. I don't know what they must say in the dressing room at half time, but nothing seems to work in that sense. Obviously, we'll still bash the manager, even though they've got a point out of the game. It's just the way it works, I think, with Morecambe. For Scunthorpe, I think this is a massive 2 points dropped. I think it's an absolute disaster for them. When you look at who they've got next, they've got Boreham Wood away, Forest Green at home, Southend at home, Carlisle away, a local derby against Boston at home, and then Rochdale away in their next, 6 games. So it's a massive set of points dropped. And I think albeit they could go on a really good run and blitz those teams, and if they do, they'll be well in the title race. But if you want to be in the title race, this is the kind of game that you've got to hold on to the 3 points.
Yeah, we've been kind of confused with Scunthorpe, haven't we, because of where they're sat in the league, whether in the title race or whether they're just consolidating the playoff places. And I think that point kind of showed that maybe they're not quite in the title race. But like I say, these games coming up, if they win them or pick up a good set of points from there, they could prove us wrong. But it looked to me like that's definitely 2 points dropped. So it was definitely, just to answer what Mark said, I think it's a better point for Morecambe, as in it stops the rot and gives them something to build on. Probably it's definitely a worse result for Scunthorpe. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, it's one of them games where both teams have dropped points from winning positions. Louis obviously focused on Morecambe here. I'm going to focus on Scunthorpe. In the 90th minute, they've been winning these games and haven't won them. Brackley, Forest Green, Altrincham, and now Morecambe. So that's 9 points because they didn't even just draw against Altrincham. They end up losing in stoppage time, conceding twice. So that's 9 points they've dropped in after the 90th minute away from home. That 9 points, they'd be top of the league. There's no lying about it. They'd be top of the league. So they're dropping points in games they probably shouldn't. You'd probably look at them and say Forest Green away is probably the only one where you can see it happening. Brackley, Altrincham, and Morecambe. Like you said, if you're going to be serious about winning the title, you don't concede to them in the 90-plus minutes. But on the caveat for that, and we didn't ever imagine we'd be talking about Scunthorpe being in the title race at the start of the season. So let's just look at actually that having these conversations is a credit to them in itself, kind of thing. That they're so much higher than we thought they'd be. I think Mark's got them in the correct position. He had them sixth when they are sixth, but I think that was probably sneaking into sixth rather than competing with first, second, third, all of those in the title race. They're conceding too many goals. I can't remember his name for the life of me, so I do apologise. The player that won the penalty, it was such a lovely little turn in the box, that moment of composure, and it almost made the defender not have a choice. He's either got to bring him down or he's going to roll it in. It was a fantastic turn. I think it might have been Evans. Is there a name? Is there an Evans in there, or have I completely imagined that one? It will come to me at some stage. I'll shout it out.
Evans in there.
It will come to me. It was number 32. I remember that.
I'll have a look and we'll get back to you through the
complete. I had it in my head and it's gone.
Well, and I will say as well, I really hope the pies were at the correct temperature this week as well.
And don't forget the other important question that was asked at the fan forum: is a Jaffa cake a cake or a biscuit? Don't forget that as well. That was an important one.
Give me.
I want to say it was Lewis.
Right. Okay.
Paul Lewis. I think it was the one that picked. It might not have even been him in the end.
Well, we got there in the end, lads. We got there in the end. Next up, we've got Sutton 1, Forest Green 1. Louis, makes sense to come to you, mate. You were at the game. What did you make of this?
Yeah, not the goal fest that some of us were expecting, I think, but certainly full of an eventful game, this one. I think we started the better side, really. We had better chances, I think, to start with. Simba had a good shot on the half volley, which was well saved by Instead in the Forest Green goal. The penalty changes the game. It's a stupid foul by Tripp on his debut. Trips up Reese, just as his name would say. And they slot the penalty away. And then they have a spell for about 5-10 minutes, maybe Forest Green, where they looked like they were going to get that second potentially. Reese had a good chance at the save by Sims. I think Biabu had a shot as well that was well saved. And then we have the drama that kicked off. The referee completely lost control of this game. But I will say, the original challenge from Topolage, if nobody's seen it, go and watch it on our socials. The original challenge is a red card. I saw it directly down the line from where I stand, and I don't know how the referee's not seeing it. He's coming studs high on Reese's knee. And yeah, it's just a red card. It's a red card all day long. On the flip side, Reese rolls around like he's been shot, then realizes that he hasn't been given the free kick, so then gets up straight away as a miraculous recovery and goes and 2-foots Kai Jennings, which is a red card in itself. So the referee not only has missed the first red card, which would probably not, issue the leg breaking potential challenge that Reese gives to Jennings, but then misses the red card on that sense. So the referee's had a complete horror show there, in my opinion. And then you get to the point where he gives the second yellow card to Reese. Now, having seen it back at time of viewing, I was adamant it was a handball, and I was fairly adamant it was a deliberate handball because it looked like he moved his arm towards the ball. On second viewing, it's still a handball, so I think the goal is correctly disallowed. Whether it is a deliberate handball, I think is probably why Savage is as livid as he was, and probably why Forest Green are feeling a bit hard done by in that sense. Yeah, you win some, you lose some. I think we've had penalties that weren't given this season, so it's one of those. But it changes the game completely, and we completely dominate in the second half. All of the talk about Savage's attacking mentality, they completely sat deep. They parked 10 men behind the ball, and their only shots really were from about 40 yards out when they realised Sims was off his line, and the occasional counter attack where they probably should have finished. Fabiola had a free header after about 15 minutes, which he should have scored probably to make it 2-0. And we looked a bit toothless in attack, and then Simba hits the bar, and you think it's not going to be our day. But thankfully, Harris popped up with a goal with, the last minute, I think it was, to give us what probably was a deserved point on the basis of territory and possession and the couple of chances that we had. But a good point for us in terms of stopping the rot, I think. And we move on to hopefully an easier set of fixtures coming up. But Tamworth away is not an easy game to have next weekend.
Oh, certainly not.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly on what Louis said about the official, if you haven't seen it, head over to our social media page. Callum put them on last night. I try not to give refs too much of a hard time, but we could literally have had 2 career-ending injuries for him not doing his job properly in the first place. Both tackles were absolutely horrendous, reckless. Like I said, the first one that he's missed, it was like a wrestling move. It was like a drop kick for those wrestling fans that watch with us. It was like a drop kick, and yeah, crazy to me that he missed that. Craig, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, I think Louis summed it up really well. I think Forest Green kind of parked the bus as much as they could when it was 1-0, and they'd have been praying to get over the line. As a fan of a team down the bottom of Sutton, I was praying they'd get over the line as well. Unfortunately, Sutton did find a way, but that's a big point for them because they didn't have a vintage festive period. I'm sure Louis will be the first to agree with us on that one, and they needed something. And he's been moving players in and out quite frequently there at Sutton. He's still not fairly settled with his side. So the fact they're picking up points against the big boys will just give them that little bit of confidence. Yes, things probably went their way that maybe shouldn't have. It's 100% a red card for Topology. So it's an awful, awful challenge. We talk about players' decision making. I don't know what he's made there in his head, what's gone through there to make that choice. And then you can sympathise with Ricardo Reis for the tackle he's made because he has just been absolutely mullered beforehand. But still, you've got to have, what do they say, fire in the belly, but ice in the brain, I think it is the saying. And he didn't have that at all. He'd lost his head on that one and was lucky not to be red carded. The red card that he eventually got, definitely handball, as Louis says, deliberate, accidental. I think only he really knows that in that moment. What may have done against him as fact is that he basically ran at the linesman to complain as well, and that might have helped the referee's decision on that one. But yeah, a tough decision for them, but one that usually goes for you when you're towards the top of the league and against you when you're down the bottom. So nice to see it flipped for a change.
Definitely. Mark, what did you make of that one?
Yeah, it was all going so well until, the sending. It should have been a sending off. I mean, God almighty. I mean, we saw with the referee at the Mac Oxford game, and he had a very interesting chant at him at the end. How on earth he managed to miss it, I've absolutely no idea. But Ricardo Reis, I mean, he got the first yellow card. But if you've just seen a referee having an absolute four-finger stinker of a decision and then doing it again not soon after, the best thing is just to stay quiet. Because it was what he said that got him sent off afterwards. And no, if you think, hang on a minute, this guy's an absolute bozo who shouldn't be on the pitch, then it's like, right, I'll keep my opinions to yourself. But what do you do in a frustrating game? I mean, that's what the referee actually made it. I mean, yeah, you had the penalty. McAllister, one of my favourite players at the moment, he dispatched it. And the wonderful JJ Harris, I'm a fan of his as well. I mean, he's been doing the business for Sutton, equalised. But Chris Agata put out a statement as well, saying, "Okay, well, it's not been going the way we envisaged, but stick with us, and we'll get there." I mean, that's very, it could be a bold move, but then again, it's an honest move, and Chris Agata comes across as a very, very honest man and an honest manager. And if somebody could elaborate as well from Forest Green's Faceache page, what was the ball boy doing that agitated you so much? Phil. We need to know. We need to know. Was he eating a burger in front of you? What?
We do need to know, because for reference, someone on Facebook, a Forest Green supporter, had commented basically saying the ball boy needed reported, taking out his frustrations on the poor ball boy. So we'd love to know from this. What was he called? This person?
It weren't me. I promise I'm not the ball boy.
The guy who posted on Facebook, whoever it was, get in touch with the podcast and let us know what the ball boy did.
Called Phil has got a beef against ball boys. So if we can actually have a little
Mark.
Mark's burner account.
No, I wouldn't call myself Phil. Put it that way. If we could just have a little bit of clarity on that. Yeah, I mean, if the game's not going well, the first thing you don't think of is, it's really that ball boy's fault.
True.
You're man, come on.
Next up, we've got Eastleigh 1, Aldershot 4. Hands up, who's seen that coming? I'm not expecting anyone raising their hands. Absolutely cracking result for Aldershot. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, they looked fully deserved as well, to be fair. It didn't look like it was a smash and grab or anything like that. They looked like the better side. The man in the moment for me, though, was Nick Townsend from Eastleigh. He got the assist for Aaron Blair's goal. There was mini flashbacks to the Reece Lovett one last week for Aaron Blair getting a nice, easy finish again. It was Boyce, I believe, the Aldershot goalkeeper, and his defender getting a little bit mixed up, and Blair getting an easy finish for that one. Townsend getting the assist. And then Aldershot's second goal, he's got to save that. It's trickled into the far corner from Hargreaves, and he hasn't saved it. And then after that, he's made a triple save. So he definitely won't forget that game in a hurry, but probably won't put it in his top 5 of performances as well, because he definitely was at fault for the second goal. Josh Barrett is crucial for that Aldershot team. Absolutely crucial. I believe it was the third goal where the ball's floated. Was it the first or the third? I can't remember now.
It was the third, I think. Third.
The ball's floated to the back stick, and he just shows an intelligence. So many people would shoot off their head there, and he's just headed it back into an area for his teammate to finish it. And everything good seems to go through him for them. If you met him in the street, you wouldn't say he looked like a footballer, but he is probably one of the best technicians in this league. He's so good on the ball. And the Aldershot are probably lucky to keep hold of him. I'm surprised that some of the other teams higher up the league often don't go for him. But yeah, Aldershot, if you ask the team how to bounce back after their mauling last week, they've done it perfectly. Eastleigh, it just hasn't seemed to have clicked perfectly for them this season. They've been better since the new manager's come in, Scott Bartlett, but they're still so inconsistent. And they feel like they're the definition of win one, lose one, draw one probably at the moment. You just don't know what you're going to get from them. They come to Braintree on the 31st, so no doubt they drop their best performance of the season on that day.
Could happen. Yeah, definitely. And I've just seen there with Aldershot, obviously they're up to 17th now as well. So, for a few of us, I would say probably November time, we thought they were dead and buried and they were going to get cut adrift down the bottom. It shows what a job John Coleman's done. And maybe Nick and Louis stat here, but they've only got 1 defeat in the last 6 league games. I'm trying to judge by Louis' facial expressions if I've took his... no, I haven't. So, again, obviously the 1 defeat was that absolute hammering at the hands of Solihull. But other than that, they've been doing really well. So, massive credit to John, friend of the podcast, and Aldershot. Mark, what did you make of this one?
Well, how do you solve a crushing defeat? You hand out one yourself. Yeah, the job that John Coleman's doing, getting Aldershot out of the doldrums, is quite remarkable, but not surprising to those who know John and his managerial prowess at this level, if you will. If you go back to the Accrington days, especially, the value for money tag may just still be on Aldershot if they do keep this up. But Eastleigh have got to be the most bizarrest team in the league. Who are you? Where are you? You know, for all the bells and whistles.
Must be having you.
Must be having you, yes. Yeah.
All right,
Where's
Delia.
that?
All right.
Yeah. Where's that bottle of red wine? I need it. Hey. But it's just so strange for us to say, for all the bells and whistles that we put on, you know, the signings in the summer were impressive. And you know, I just don't know. It seems to have just gone very, very wrong. So, but without any rhyme or reason, they shouldn't be in the position they're in. Very easy to say. Shouldn't be losing some of the games that they're losing. Very easy to say. But why are they doing it? And it just doesn't seem a clean explanation as to why Eastleigh are playing so poorly. But, you know, don't take that away from the fact that Aldershot made absolute mincemeat out of them. And as Craig rightly says, Josh Barrett is at the heart of that team. You know, I hope he hasn't just put the jinx in it by the none of the top teams coming in for him, and then all of a sudden next week he's off. We've seen that, as I will reflect in the 6-in-6 for one particular player. But yeah, but John Coleman, the experience is there. Experience counts for me, and yeah, a great win. Great win.
Yeah, anyone that's doing well for the teams down the bottom, I'm just going to tout them to go so they don't keep their
I
form
wonder
up.
why.
Louis, anything to add on that one, mate?
Yeah, I mean, Barrett came back from injury, and I think that was when the upturn in form started for Aldershot. So yeah, it's no surprise in that sense. He got 2 assists again yesterday. Pierre had a goal disallowed for Eastleigh just before Aldershot got their first, and I think there was a foul on the keeper, but it looked slightly harsh. So if that could change the perspective of the game in that sense, and then he gives the handball away for the penalty for the last goal. So I think he's lucky if we, deliberate handball, yellow cards, given what happened in our game. He's lucky to stay on the pitch because he'd already been booked earlier. I said in the previous show, 54% of Eastleigh of Aldershot's games have got 3 or more goals. You can just add another to that collection with this one. And if you go and lose a game 5-1, as you say, winning 4-1's the best thing to do. But it's better than drawing 2 games. You obviously pick up the 3 points instead. So if that mantra keeps continuing, they will stay up because they'll pick up more points than the team that can go unbeaten and draw loads of games. So full credit to them, deserved win. And yeah, good for John Coleman. Well done, mate.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Next up, we've got Mark with 6 in 6 minutes. Obviously, there's some classics to cover here, mate. So the floor is yours.
Well, the first 3 aren't going to take too long. Truro 0, Tamworth 0. The only thing of note was Will Dean getting sent off. Let's move on. Hartlepool 1, Altrincham 0. Alex Reeve with the penalty at a game that was going at a very glacial pace. Let's move on from that as well. Wheelston 1, Woking 0. Dionysus Woodman. There you go. Let's move on from that as well. We go on. Halifax 2, Boston 1. No Josh Hamami, no problems. Owen Bray and Cody Johnson, your Halifax goal scorers, with Kenneth Abo not making it a great game for Paul Hurst in his return. We have Brackley 2, Yeovil 1. Shane Byrne and Kyle Morrison, your Brackley scorers, with Kyle Ferguson getting the Yeovil goal. Very, very mixed views on the results. Who's it better for? Brackley, definitely. Should Yeovil have got it? Probably. And then Gateshead 0, Rochdale 2, Manny Duku and Ryan East. And I put you last because you're not top of the league anymore.
That's got to be a record. That has to be a record. But yeah, we put Rochdale were unlucky to miss out on the deep dive, but we felt like we couldn't not have Aldershot 4, Eastleigh 1 in there.
Precisely, and I know what we'll get in. You don't do this.
But as you can see, Mark was very enthusiastic about that bunch of games, and he really enjoyed covering them.
Well, the first 3 were well worth your time.
Instant classics, what we call them. Next up, we've got our predictions update. So how did we get on this weekend, Craig? And then we're going to do our quick fire predictions for the games in midweek.
Yeah, I noticed some weeks you try to miss this, mate. This week's not one of those because you smashed it. You got 18 points this week and won the week. 2 perfect and then 4 correct teams to win as well. Although he wasn't too far behind, though, he stopped his blip there. He stopped the rot as such. He's been sliding down the table, but he picked up 16 points this week as well. I got 13. could have been higher, but unfortunately for me, Morecambe decided to score in the 97th minute when I had Scunthorpe to win 2-1 on that one. Mark got 8 points, and our guest Keaton Ward got 7 points. That swing between the guests and Louis has made it level at the top on 384. Myself on 368. Dan's now just a 7 behind me on 361. And Mark is on 321. The guests have won 8 weeks. Myself and Dan have won 6. Louis won the 5, and Mark's won 3.
Yes. Progress.
Yeah, so good week for me. I did notice I was out yesterday afternoon, but I did notice I had Hartlepool 1-0, so I knew I'd got off to a good start. I just thought carry it on from there. So we're going to do our games in order. So Tuesday's games first. I know a lot of us haven't really prepared, so this is a lot off the cuff here. So it could either go really well or really badly. We'll see. First up, we've got Boreham Wood against Scunthorpe. Craig?
3-1 home win.
Mark?
2-0 Boreham Wood.
I've got 2-1 Boreham Wood. Louis?
I'm going to go for a Desmond. I'm going 2-2 on this one.
Next up, we've got Hartlepool Gateshead. It's got another instant classic written all over it. This one, I'll go first for this one. I've got 1-0 Hartlepool. Mark?
1-0 Hartlepool.
Louis?
I'm going 2-0 Gateshead.
Ooh. Craig?
Someone's getting points. 1-1.
Ooh. Interesting. Next up, we've got Southend Eastleigh. Louis?
Home banker here, 2-0 Southend.
Craig?
2-0 Southend.
I've got 1-0 Southend. Mark?
2-1 Southend.
Next up, we've got Truro against Brackley. Maybe not a game for the footballing purists, but very important down the bottom of the table. I'll go first. I've got 1-1 in this one. Louis?
I'm going to back Truro, 1-0 Truro.
I backed them this weekend and they didn't win, so that's why I'm not backing them.
We
all did, yeah. Mark?
I'm going to go 2-0 Truro.
And Craig?
What he said, 2-0 Truro.
And then the last game on Tuesday is Yeovil Aldershot. Craig?
2-1 Yeovil.
I've got 2-2 for this one. Got the Desmond out for that one. Mark?
2-1 Aldershot.
Louis?
I'm also going for Desmond. I'm going 2-2.
Then Wednesday's games, we've got Carlisle versus York. I'll let you guys all go first before I do mine. Mark?
Sit in the fence, 1 each.
Craig?
2-1 Carlisle.
Louis?
Going 2-1 York.
I've gone Desmond for that one, 2-2. Maybe heart over head, but we'll see. Halifax Morecambe next. I'll go first. I've got 2-0 Halifax. Craig?
3-1 Halifax.
Mark?
2-1 Halifax.
And Louis?
I've also gone 3-1 Halifax on this one.
Next up, we've got Forest Green against Altrincham. Louis?
3-0 Forest Green.
Mark?
Wow. 2-0 Forest Green.
That's the biggest hate watch for you, isn't it, mate?
Oh, God.
That's Mark's viewing sorted on Wednesday night.
It's like asking which one of my legs I want to lose.
I've got 3-1 Forest Green for this one. And Craig?
4-0 Forest Green.
Wow. Next up, Solihull Moors against Rochdale. Louis?
I'll go 1-1 on this one.
Craig?
2-2.
I've got 2-1 Rochdale. Mark?
Might be surprising in store. 2-1 Solihull.
You're not going to be very popular with the Rochdale supporters, Mark. this week.
Oh, I could have put Rochdale to win 25-0 and it still wouldn't have made a difference. So.
You've given them 10 seconds and you're 6-6 and then back them to lose, mate. You want to hide this week.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
And then the last game for Wednesday is Wealdstone against Tamworth. Again, another game that doesn't really, scream classic, but we'll do it anyways. I'm going to go 1-1 in that one. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to get from either of them. Louis?
1-0 Wealdstone.
Craig?
Yes, home win 1-0.
And Mark?
Someone had to do it. 0-0.
0-0. I knew that was coming. 0-0, yeah. There is some good games midweek, but there is some that don't look as exciting as the others.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no Sutton Woking, because in case we haven't mentioned it, Woking are playing Macclesfield. And
well, we'll try to anyway.
Yeah. And the other fixture from this one was Braintree Boston, which was played last week, which was the classic.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I thought there was going to be 11 games, so I was searching for the other game, and then I remembered we'd mentioned it, hadn't we, about the game being played earlier. So, yeah, so that's it from us anyways. We've covered pretty much everything there. The 56 minutes or whatever is absolutely flew in. A lot to talk about this weekend, but we've covered it as best we can. Thanks to Louis, Mark and Craig, as always. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and we'll see you soon. Take care.